Who are you with these new beliefs? In this video, I will give you my interpretation of the full moon at 23 degrees of Sagittarius of June 14, 2022. As always, I'm doing this transmission in connection with my guides. Keep watching to receive all my tips to make the most of this full moon portal. So this is a culmination of the cycle that started last December with the new moon in Sagittarius. That was also the last eclipse of the Gemini Sagittarius eclipse season. And there can be a feeling of having left behind a belief system, but still not having a fixed new one. And we're kind of learning to navigate this new flexibility and openness that is also related to this new moon cycle in Gemini. And this reminds me of the new movie of Matrix Resurrections, where it's like we left behind the 3D matrix, the past, but we are still in a matrix. And this new matrix has its own set of distortions and possibilities we are learning to navigate. And the ruler of this new moon in Sagittarius is Jupiter, which is in Aries with no aspects. I actually have been sick and with intense fever last week, but I was feeling a lot of system updates. And for me, it was related to leaving behind a strong unconscious paradigm that I no longer hold on to anymore. And now opening up more to my 5D essence that feels like new territory despite it's closer to my true nature. And so in this cycle, there is a T-square with Neptune in Pisces, and there can be a feeling of a lot of delusion and feeling lost because of this disconnection from the past. We actually unplugged from this matrix, and the dreams we used to have no longer resonate with who we are becoming. That's why in the beginning I was asking who you are now, because that's the question that arises for me in this moment. We strongly associate belief systems with identities, and when there is this change of beliefs, there is a feeling of losing a previous identity. And that's the gift that allows us to embody a new frequency that is not limited by the past. And our minds can be struggling to catch up and make sense of it all. But the idea in this cycle, which started with Mercury retrograding, is to have this introspection as well. All this process is happening to be more light about things and more fluid, which is what with Neptune it helps navigating the waters, to be more flexible and fluid, but at the same time to be willing to play a new game. And the full moon will be on Tuesday, which is ruled by Mars. That will be conjunct Chiron in Aries. And this is also asking inside the question, who am I? And this moment reminds me of a quote from Alice in Wonderland that says, "It's no use going back to yesterday because I was a different person then." And also another one that says, "Who in the world am I?" Ah, that's the great puzzle. So we are in this in-between where we deprogram a lot of belief systems that are no longer of use now. And we don't have a new one yet. And that's precisely the energy that makes anything possible, because we are not set in a fixed belief system. And so the usual rules don't apply. And that takes learning to navigate with flexibility and openness. Because when we move in the 3D and 4D matrices, we function with a set of beliefs and emotions that we have felt a ton of times. But the thing is, that's not who we are, even if that's what we are used to. And so it's when we deprogram that our true essence can emerge. And it feels so new, even when it's our nature, because it was below all these layers of conditioning that we became so accustomed to. And so this is a time where we have a chance to get used to the unusual, and we become more familiar with these energies. And the ruler of this new moon is Jupiter, which is the philosopher. And it's in Aries, which is the first sign with no aspects. And since we let go of this belief system, which is what Jupiter rules, it's like the philosopher without a philosophy. And the Sun and the Moon are also making a T-square with Neptune in Pisces. And so with Jupiter without a set belief system and these squares from the Sun and the Moon to Neptune, it's easy to feel lost. But I encourage you to see it from the perspective of being free to create something without the usual limits and set of rules that don't apply anymore. And so it's an alternative way to receive what we want effortlessly, because this decan of Sagittarius is also related to Peter Pan. And it's like we've been sprinkled with fairy dust, and for it to work, it takes us to take life more lightly so we can fly above whatever situation we are in and see it from a lighter perspective, because that's the one that allows us to fly in another frequency and to turn around our reality. And it's also a great opportunity with Venus conjunct Uranus to see where our desires are free and where they have been programmed. So it's a great time for observation. Also with the full moon is always a great time to raise our consciousness and see more clearly what we couldn't see before. So we could receive the keys to our freedom. Because it's very curious, right? We could have been most of our lives wanting things that are programmed in us, that are not even what we really want. And so it's a great time to see more clearly through that, to feel this freedom and not necessarily be in a rush to escape or to try to build a new reality, but to have more space to dream a new dream, more aligned with who we truly are and not necessarily what we became so used to. So don't let anyone tell you what's real and what's not, because now it's not so clear. And so that's the advantage. And so take advantage of it and open to a new reality, more in line with your free essence. And remember that one of the easiest ways to connect with this essence is through the inner kit, as I talked about in the new moon in Gemini video. And that's how we manifest, with our vibration. And with this lighter approach to life, it's much easier to manifest our true desires, free from conditionings. And so dare to dream, because in this moment, the dreamers are the ones who have it easier to fly to new realities of our creation. And so keep tuned for the coming video where I'll review the latest book from Eva Marquez, Activate Your Cosmic DNA, where she put together her Starseed Guide 1 and 2, and where we'll talk about starseeds and different star systems. Check out the video about the new moon in Gemini if you haven't watched it yet. This is a cycle that will be available until the next new moon in Cancer. And keep tuned also about the video where I'll answer some questions about manifestation and more books I'm reading from Richard Dawes. I can't wait to see you in the next video.